Hi, and thanks for your interest in our workforce management consulting. I'm Jay Minucci. I'm the president and founder of Service Agility. We've got a long history of workforce management work at Service Agility, and we really offer our services in three kind of buckets. We do a workforce management assessment. We also do any type of workforce management improvement consulting, and we do some training in the field. So let me explain each of those three to you. I want to start with the workforce management assessment. So this is a specific program. We look at all of your processes, we compare them to our best practices, identify where the opportunities are, and prioritize those opportunities. So a traditional four-step process here. And to give you an idea of what it may look like, we break down the different processes in workforce management. This one happens to be scheduling. And we kind of look at, okay, where are you on the scale as it relates to, in this case, scheduling? And you can see we break it down into sort of stages. If you're familiar with maturity models, it's that type of approach. And we're really getting an idea of where you fit on this scale, and from that, then, we can give you information on, okay, so what are the next steps here? What would you need to do to get into the next stages? And what will that bring to your organization? So that's what we do on an assessment. Now, we also do consulting work, which can be really anything related to workforce management. It typically falls into one or more of these four buckets. The first being long-term planning. How many people do I need to hire 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 24 months from now, that sort of thing. Short-term forecasting and staffing is another bucket. Scheduling is one, and real-time management is one as well. So our consulting work, when you look at it that way, you say, well, which do you do? Well, it really depends on what your needs are. You're the one that drives what we go into and do here. A lot of our work does fall into that long-term planning process, partly because it's so important, but also because we've got a long history of doing that. We've got a lot of data from doing that, and we have a process that really works for contact centers. This is actually a slide that is a summary of a lot of that data related to long-term planning, and it's going through and really looking at what are commonly called shrink factors to see where is time lost in contact centers, which is very important when you're doing your long-term planning, because you have to understand what your capacity is per agent as you're looking over your projected workload. So this is the type of information that we use, and you can see we try and present it in a visual manner so that it makes sense to people when they look at it. I mentioned we also do training in workforce management. Now, our training, I don't want to confuse that with training that you may get from a vendor. A vendor will train you on their product. If you happen to have a workforce management system, they'll train you on the product itself. We don't train on the product. We train on the process, the practices, the principles, the things that people really need to understand. We want to make sure that when someone goes through our training program, if they are working on a workforce management system, when they hit a button, when they hit the enter key, they understand what's happening behind the scenes. Because if they understand that, that's the information they need to be able to optimize the system that they're using, but also ensure that the results that they're getting are accurate. So you can see the training that we provide, it can be for the workforce management staff themselves to give them that why behind the what and give them the skills. It can also be with leadership, frontline leadership in the contact center, managers, executives, where we talk about the principles and we talk a lot about accountability and who's accountable for what piece of the workforce management planning process. And then we also provide training for agents, because it's very important that best run contact centers have taken the time to explain these key principles to their agents so that they understand why we do these things. Because the things we do in contact centers are a little different. We have some real strict expectations regarding start and stop times. We put out schedules. We try and schedule everything in advance, and without providing agents this education as to why this is so important and what their role is in that, there's little chance that they're going to be able to adhere to the expectations that we have. This is an example of one of the visuals that we use in the class. We like to talk about that workforce management process in a number of different ways. And one of the ways that is very effective is to talk of it in terms of a dance troupe and choreography and people leaving the stage and coming on the stage at exactly the same time, because that's a really good example of what has to happen in a contact center. So we use images like this to talk about the workforce management process. We also use other images, hopefully somewhat humorous images like this one, to explain, why we are always watching results so closely. Even when we're doing well, we're watching results closely, and we're careful to make sure that we continue to do well and we don't throw caution to the wind. And so we use slides like this to explain why we do that, and then we give a little bit more detail on it as well. So we love doing workforce management projects. We'd love to get an opportunity to talk with you about what's happening in your organization and how we may be able to help. Feel free to contact us to get started. You can email me directly. I'm at jaym@serviceagility.com. You can call at 215-679-5250. We'll have about a 1-hour discovery call, find out what you're looking for and if it's a fit for what we do. And if it is, we'll have a proposal delivered to you within 2 business days. Thanks.